Hey everyone, I am so excited for you to meet our guest today, Dawn. She is joining us from sunny Florida. And for those of you that have just found this podcast, I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome to you. My name is Colleen Tatum, and this is Rising Through, where we explore the relationship between struggle and how it actually is a required ingredient in our success. So Dawn has an amazing story. I'm so excited for you guys to learn about her. She is a coach in the fitness space, but has evolved from that in a big way. She coaches other fitness professionals that want to be in business as well. And I've been chatting with her a little bit here and learning so much about her and her journey so far. And I know you guys are going to connect with it. So thank you so much, Dawn, for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited to get started.
We are excited too. Okay, so I probably messed up what you do. So
no, you got it perfect. Absolutely perfect. I work with women, typically women over 40, to help them drop weight, feel great, doing online virtual fitness and nutrition coaching. That has evolved because of the way that it changed my life and opened up other opportunities and doors. I wanted to help other personal trainers that really want to do that full time, but unless you own a gym, it's really hard to make it as a personal trainer without moving to the online space. So being able to teach really good trainers a different business model has just been a blessing and something I'm really excited to be able to share. I had phenomenal coaches specifically in that space, and then other business coaches. So just being able to kind of take all that knowledge while at the same time still being able to work with individual fitness and nutrition clients, it's just been a lot of fun.
It's so cool and it's so needed. Like I've been in business myself for over 20 years. And coaching wasn't even a thing when I started. There wasn't even hardly internet. That's how old I am. But I always think what a blessing it is for people coming into business now, whatever age they are, because there's so many resources available to them. And that investment in themselves truly I have found has helped me grow in a big way in my business. And just because you have a desire to be in the fitness space or a different business space, or you're really talented at being a trainer, doesn't mean that you actually know how to make a business out of it, right? Like that's something actually different. You always see like the plumber, he starts his business, but does he know how to run a business? Maybe his books are a mess. He doesn't know how to build profit. He doesn't know how to market, all of those things, because he's like, I'm a plumber. I just want to do plumbing. But how to link it together, right? With that desire to also be a business as well. So how did you get into that space at all?
Well, it's cool that you gave that example. The coach that I first started working with, she got into the space because she had a lot of really strong personal trainer friends who were incredible, but they couldn't sell. They couldn't make money off of what they were doing. But then you've got these really cruddy trainers out there that can sell the heck out of things, making a ton of money and not getting anybody results. And so that's how she really started getting into the space. For me, it started a little over 2 years ago. I was going through the process of a divorce. And at the time, I had done some personal training more as a hobby at our local Y. The Y is a nonprofit. Like you don't make much money as a trainer there. And I wasn't looking to. I was just looking to learn and grow, meet some new people, make connections. I was also working for a company called Beachbody, which is now called Body. Basically, I was selling their programs and making a little bit off of the fitness and nutrition side. But again, it was all really just hobby and fun and stuff I was utilizing. When I was going through the divorce, I really had no idea what the finances were going to look like. And so I knew I needed to start earning money and earning it fast. I knew I couldn't do that working at the Y. I had my best friend at the time. This was coming out of COVID. She had worked as a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor in New York. And she was working at 3 different gyms. She had a ton of clients. And when COVID hit, all of those gyms, especially in New York, shut down. And that was a huge portion of their income. So she is very business-minded, very driven, and was definitely not going to let her family sink. So she found alternative ways to create, generate, grow a business online. And as I was going through this divorce process, she and I spent a week at the beach. I needed to like clear my head, figure out my life. And I was like, okay, you need to tell me what you're doing. How are you making money? Because I know you're doing really well, because I knew what some of her goals were. And she's like, oh yeah, I hit my financial goal for the year. And my mind was blown because I knew what her financial goal was. And she's like, look, I do this online fitness and nutrition coaching. And in my brain, it was just personal training over Zoom. I just thought she was doing one-on-one Zoom sessions. And she's like, you can't make enough money doing it that way. There's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough clients. And so she introduced me to the coach that she had hired. And I just fell in love with the process. I fell in love with the business opportunity, a new way to look at things. It was really high ticket sales. I love selling. I do not think sales is icky like a lot of people do. I think sales is so necessary. And if you give a crap about people and you're in a service-based industry, like the way you care is to sell them the solution to their problems. Like without that sale, that can't happen. And I fell in love with the process and then the transformation. At first, I was like, this isn't going to work. Nobody's going to hire me to do this. And women online after COVID, people had no problem talking online, handing over credit cards online. I was like, wait, let me just send you an invoice. Don't give me your credit card number. And it just turned into a really great experience where I was able to earn a solid income while helping women get incredible results.
Yes. Oh my goodness. There's so many nuggets in there. I just want to take a minute because you touch on so many great things. Like, first of all, realizing that you had a desire, but realizing that you didn't have the pieces. So asking for help, right? Asking for help from someone that actually has gone there before, right? Because a lot of times people ask for help from people that don't know anything. Like they want to open a business and then they tell all their hopes and dreams to their uncle Pat that like has worked at the mill for 50 years and God love him, but he's never done anything like that took a lot of courage or built a business in his life. And we tell Uncle Pat and Uncle Pat's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And so then we just let our dreams die. So first of all, you identified that you didn't know everything. And second of all, you asked someone that knew what they were talking about to show you the way. I think that's wonderful. And also that you said that you love sales. I mean, let's be honest, everyone is selling something, right? If you're in a job, you're selling your boss every day to keep you for another day.
Absolutely.
So I think this is really weird how in our society we've decided that sales is a bad thing, but just like you've said, you're solving a problem, right? So I think where sales becomes icky is if you're creating a problem that doesn't exist and you're trying to make someone, trick them or persuade them into something that they don't actually need that's going to harm them. So that you get financial gain. I think that's where it becomes icky. But most salespeople that I meet actually have a desire to help people, right? Whether that's in fitness or another type of business, if you can really find out what is important to someone and you can truly offer a solution to them, that's the most beautiful thing that can happen, right?
Yes.
And like the compensation that comes from that is because you've offered value. I've often heard the saying that the more value you offer, the higher level problem that you solve, the more compensation you get for that, which is different than working hard. Because working hard, there's
Absolutely
a lot
different.
of people that work really hard. Uncle Pat at that mill, he probably worked really hard, but he never actually probably made a lot of money. So you're so right with that. And when I look at it, I wonder, like you said something earlier, you said like there's a lot of not so good trainers out there making money.
Mm-hmm.
But they're good at selling. So if I'm like someone that doesn't know what I'm doing and I'm like, okay, I need to hire a trainer, how do I know if they're good?
That's a great question. So you want to hire a personal trainer to help you with your fitness and nutrition, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so the first thing,
actually done.
so the first thing that you want to know is like, what is it that you're looking for? I've come across so many women that think they need a personal trainer and it's not what they actually need. They want to lose weight. You don't need a personal trainer to lose weight. Now, there is absolutely a need and a necessity for good personal trainers that do in-person training. I had a client that was an elderly gentleman who had balance issues and muscle imbalances that we needed to work one-on-one in person. But the average woman looking to lose weight doesn't need a personal trainer because the biggest key to that is going to be nutrition. So the first thing is figuring out, like, what is it that you need a trainer for? Is there a specific thing you're working towards? Muscle imbalances that you're trying to fix, find out from them, what do they do? Do they have an area of specialty, right? Is there a particular group that they like to work with? Are you working with a trainer that likes to work with like big meathead dudes that are getting ready for bodybuilding competition. That's very different than what you're looking for. So you want to pay attention to that. Always, just like in business, you want to know that there's a method to their madness. What is their plan to get you from point A to point B? You don't need to know all of the intricate details of what the program is going to look like. You get that once you're in the program, but you need a good solid overview, and it needs to make sense. If it doesn't feel like it makes sense, like run. If they can't explain it in a way and give you examples of how this works and why, I wouldn't want to necessarily work
Yeah.
with them. And so really that's the biggest key, is making sure that they have a knowledge base. I don't worry about what somebody's certifications are typically in real life, because I mean, in business, a lot of certifications are just a piece of paper to give you that credibility factor. I knew more about programming as a trainer prior to getting my certification. I didn't necessarily learn anything new in the certification. Certification was just saying, here's the piece of paper that allows you to do what you do. So I wouldn't even say, oh, you've got to research and make sure that they have this specialty and whatnot. And then of course, see if they can give you examples of people that have worked with them. Do they have before and after pictures? Can they get you in touch with past clients that they've worked with that will share open and honestly? If somebody wants to work with me, I'll connect them to past people that will give their experiences. And so I think that's really important as
I
you're
think
as
that's
you're
really
looking.
true. Really true. The credentials, not so much, right? Like, in some of my businesses, I own an automotive shop for many years. I am not a mechanic, but
Right.
I know how to run an auto shop and I know how to make money at it. That's very different than like, do I actually know how to change brakes? No.
Right.
Can they show you proven success? That's really important. They should have references, right? Unless they're starting out, and then they should be honest with you about that. And
Right.
probably you're almost a partner in their startup of saying, hey, I'm gonna give you a discount, and then we're gonna try this out, and then you're gonna give me a testimonial, right? So I think that's really important. And so I know through this journey, you've actually written some books.
I have.
Courage Rising is already out, right?
Yes.
And you have another one coming out. What's that one?
Champion Rising. So Courage Rising, it's the subtitle is Stop Settling and Start Living a Brave Life with No Regrets. They are both personal development in nature. The Courage Rising is more specifically on how to develop confidence through taking courageous action. The method that I use to teach in that book is the Brave Way, and Brave is an acronym. And so that's kind of why that's thrown into the subtitle there. But basically, it talks about steps that you can take that can help you be more courageous to do the things. People often get it backwards. They think in order to do courageous things, you need to be confident. If I was just confident, I would do that. No, you need to do that in order to become confident, right? Like you need to actually have that first client to feel confident having clients. And you need to go through the steps that you need to. So that book specifically talks and dives into some things that you can do that will help you build that courage muscle to start taking the kind of messy action that gets you the results that you want and gets you out of that. So many women are in like this sleepwalking mode in life and they don't even realize it. They're just kind of going through the day to day and have no idea that they're, not living the life that they could, should, or want to be living, because
Yeah.
we just get really comfortable and complacent. And so it's kind of eye opening. And then Champion Rising is crushing goals, surpassing limits, and embracing a winning mindset. And that dives more into overall mindset and the things that you need to do to be successful in whether it's, athletics, work, play, relationships, just really that overall mindset that you need, that winning mindset that you develop.
Yeah, so true. Oh, it sounds like such a great book. I mean, you're right, because a lot of people think that they have to be perfect before they can start, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
even me starting this podcast, a lot of people would research it to death and do it. And I had this desire to start this podcast for a while. And I was like, oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? Will anyone listen? Am I worthy? Like all these stupid
Right.
things. Oh, I have to learn the tech. And I look back on every business that I've started, everything I've done successful through my life. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just failed forward. And the struggle, the hardship, the learning through that process actually builds you for the result, right? You can't just like be a bodybuilder, wake up one day with huge muscles. You have to actually start at being the scrawny person and
Right.
work and build and get to the result. You can't can't just wake up and have a result. So whether it's starting a new business, or whether it's doing a podcast, or writing a book, or starting a project, or starting a fitness journey, you're going to have to suck before you
Yes.
ever get even like okay. And then hopefully maybe you get to great. But most people aren't willing to be uncomfortable enough. They aren't willing to get out of that comfort zone to go through the suck, right? We're so taught that I can't look bad, that we don't ever try. And we end up living this life, like you said, of mediocrity. And we just live this life where we never actually fulfill any of those hopes and dreams that we had when we were a kid, right? When you're a kid, you can do anything, right? Your parents are like, cool, you can be a superhero. And then somewhere along the way, they start thinking, well, maybe you should be a little more realistic, Dawn. Maybe
Yeah.
you should, think about getting something that's stable, get a good job. But we know, what is the average North American doing? They have higher than ever household debt. Their cost of living is out of control. We're buying more and more stuff. Our mental health is not good. And so
Right.
maybe, just maybe, the way that our society is living isn't actually working. We want to do something different. So how did you even ever get on this path? Like, I know that there were some struggles along the way. What was that like for you?
I was married for 16 and a half years, and my ex was in the military. And so I got married a couple years after college and went into this military spouse world. And while nobody ever said you can't have your own dreams, you can't live your own life, it's really challenging and really hard. And my role, my job was to support my ex and his career and what he was looking to do. We didn't get a say in really anything that happened. It was always needs of the Army. Wherever the Army needs you, that's where you're going to go. That's what you're going to do. And so I put a lot of my hopes, dreams, goals on hold. And really, I put them to the side because I didn't have any. I stopped thinking, I stopped dreaming about, what do I want out of life? What things do I want to do? And I was okay in that role. And it was a really good life, but it was that comfort zone, right? It was comfortable, it was stable. I met incredible people. I learned so much, I grew so much. When after we retired from that military world, my friend, the same friend that got me connected to this coaching stuff, she would challenge me and she would push me and she would ask me, well, what do you want to do? And at the time, I didn't, my ex was retired military. He was an officer. So he was making good money. He was now working for the government, making good money. Like, again, I was just comfortably sleepwalking. And, I did some things for fun on my own. But I mean, I couldn't even answer if I could live anywhere in the world, where would I want to live? If I could go on any vacation, where would I want to go? Like the basic things that people dream about. Things did not go well in our marriage. It had been years. The military life is just really hard. And we were not a great fit. And so by after COVID, I think COVID shook up a lot of lives, but I think that's when I was like, I can't do this anymore. I owe it to myself, and I owed it to him to just say, like, this isn't working. And I think when that happened, life got real fast. Like, okay, you need to figure this out. I will be very honest. I'm blessed. I did okay in my divorce. So I have a little bit of time to figure out what I want to do when I grow up, because I wasted so many years not working towards anything. And so right now I'm living in that figuring out what I want to do and trying some things that fill me up and excite me and make me really happy. That's why, I'm doing two different coaching things right now. While I loved coaching fitness and nutrition, and that was so much fun and fantastic, and I love watching the transformations, I keep gravitating towards wanting to help people get businesses started and not just work on their fitness and nutrition, but now some of their, financial stability. And then at the same time, I know that there's so many messages and things I want to share out there. And the deepest desires in my heart are to be speaking. I want to be on stages, speaking, teaching, training, motivating people, but with solid, actionable steps and things they can take. And so that's where sort of the books kind of came in, was that desire to, all right, I need to get my message out there. I need to put it on paper. And then as a speaker, to have a book adds credibility, gives you some teaching materials, things you can learn from. I love that you say, you're when you first start a podcast or you first do anything, you have to suck at first, right? That's what I did with my first book. I was like, look, I just need to get this thing on paper. I literally, the actual writing time for that book was 2 weeks. So while the thought had been in my head for over a year, and I had been stewing about it for over a year, like literally writing time was 2 weeks. A friend edited it for me really, really quickly. From the time I said I'm going to write this book to the time the first copy was sold on Amazon was just under 2 months. It was a crazy whirlwind. Now, I think it is a very good book. I think it is well done. But now that I'm finishing the second, I was like, wow, that first book sucked, right? You look back and you're like, look at all the things that I've learned. I mean, I joke that it looks like a children's book, right? Because of the font size that I use, the line spacing that I use, some of the formatting things, right? So some of those things, even I look at it and it just kind of blows me away. The strategy, I didn't have a great strategy coming out, like, well, because I really just wanted a book. I didn't really know how I was going to get it into hands. I self-published, so I did it on my own. I didn't work with a coach. I kind of followed a couple people online. Second book is better, right? It's a little bit more substantial. It doesn't look like a children's book. It's got more content. I'm, reading books and following a little bit more of a plan and a path and how I want to get out there. And then how do I want to utilize it, right? I don't just want to have a book. Like I actually want it in people's hands, more people's hands than the first book.
Mm-hmm. I think there's so many nuggets in there. And a thought comes to mind that I hear a lot is you don't have to be perfect to help the person that's 3 steps behind you. That's all you're really trying to do, right? So someone picking up your first book, they're still going to find value from it. They're not going to notice the font and the spacing and all that stuff, right? Maybe someone that's like a book writer, but not like me picking up a book. I just want to read a book. I want to feel myself with the content. I even look at great podcasters like that I listen to, Ed Milet. He has 2 books. His first book, if you read it, I don't think it's that great. It's really small. The font is super big words, like sizing, so that like this tiny little book actually looks a lot bigger. There's some nuggets in there. And if you're 3 steps behind, if you haven't ever read a personal development book, it's still a great book. It doesn't mean that it's worthless and that it's not going to help people and that he shouldn't have done it. But now his second book is so much better, so much better. And the marketing that he's done around it has been so much better, right? So even someone like Ed Milet that has, his own jet and his own island and all these things and interviews presidents and, all these things that people think, oh my God, I can't do what Ed Milet does. He still sucks and moves forward imperfectly and gets better as he goes. So I think that's really, really such a good lesson in everything that we do. No matter how good you are in one area of your business or life, if you're going to expand it to something else, you're going to have to still suck, right? You can't just be like, oh, I'm a CEO of a company, but I shouldn't suck at this other thing. You're gonna, and it's okay. And that's part of the process. It still has value and you're going to help a lot of people along the way. So
and we talked a lot about coaching, especially before you hit record on this podcast. And if I wanted to be a writer, right, and I want to do books and really profit off of book sales specifically, right? Success, there's that saying that success leaves clues. And I laugh. I'm like, no, there's a damn roadmap, right? There is a roadmap to success. Somebody's been there and done that, right? That's asking for help. There are a ton of coaches that coach you through putting together a book. If you're going to self-publish, how to do it the right way. It's just figuring out, your time, your effort, where do you want to spend your dollars? Because there's definitely ways to do it much better. Sure, I'm getting better the second time through, didn't hire a coach, right? But there are certain things that I am paying for because I know I'll mess them up and it won't look as good. And so it's just figuring out those pieces. There's always somebody that can help you along the way. You just need to figure out what's that investment worth. And if I wanted to do this the right way, I know exactly, which coach I'd be going to, what opportunity I'd be jumping in on. And maybe in a couple years, maybe for the 3rd and 4th book, maybe we'll go that route. We'll see.
Yeah, I love that. It's going to keep evolving. And I think exactly. So you don't have to spend all the money to find all the things to just get going. You can spend some money, do what you can, right? There's a lot of free content out there. There's a lot of resources. There's so much resources right now that almost you have to put your blinders on, and then you just have to go to work and you just have to get it done, right?
Yes.
I think that's so cool. So if someone is connecting with you right now on the podcast, or like, I want to learn more about Dawn, I want to read her book, I want to, maybe they want business coaching, something like that. Where is the best place to find Dawn?
Okay. The most fun place to find Dawn is on Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm just Dawn Dimicco on Facebook, but you can find me through epicredemption.com. And that's going to take you to all of the different pieces. So that's just the main hub. It'll take you to my books. It'll take you to speaking opportunities. It'll take you to online fitness and nutrition coaching. It'll take you to the business coaching, epicredemption.com, main hub. And I'm still working on cleaning that site up as well. That's one of those other pieces that you learn and grow and
Yeah.
keep rolling. But all facets of me are there. And then, like I said, I'm the most fun through social media. I'm old. I like Facebook. I can't get into the Snapchat. I don't understand Twitter. I do like LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
Twitter is really boring. You don't need to spend space there.
Yeah.
But TikTok, I really like TikTok. You might want to be there, Dawn.
Yeah, I do. I know I have a couple TikToks. I don't know how to get back in them. I feel like Uncle Pat at the mill right now.
Right. Yeah, right. So plug for Ray Higdon. I did a TikTok class with him. I think it was like
Oh yeah.
$7. It was the best $7 I ever spent. So if anyone is looking to find out how to do reels and TikToks, go to higdongroup.com. I think he's got
Yep.
something called Unlock the Talk. It's $7, I think. It's super worth it. But yeah, I love that. I love that you're on the stuff. I also don't know how to work Snapchat. I'm like, I should learn that someday. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress, just like you, Dawn. So I guess last question. If you were to look back in the kind of like your darkest moment where you're not really sure what direction to take next, maybe there's someone listening that's going through something right now and they're not really sure how to get started or how to change their life like you did. What would be the biggest piece of advice that you would give to that person?
It's going to be surround yourself with the right people. You have to have the right people in your corner who truly have your best interest at heart. And then you need to lean into them. When you're not sure what direction to turn, you need to have those people that you can rely on, that you can genuinely talk to, that aren't just going to tell you what you want to hear, that aren't going to just be negative, but that are truly going to know your needs and care about you. When you're around those people and you're willing to lean into them, everything changes. They help lift you up in so many ways, can point you in the right direction. And then when things are falling apart, they're there to, hold your hand through it. Sometimes they're going to push you. Sometimes they're going to pull you kicking and screaming. But if you can surround yourself with the right people, your entire life will change.
It is so true. It is so true. The people that are around us right now might not be the people that are going to get us to where we want to go, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you have to cut them out, but it means you need to be aware and you need to look and seek out those people that are going to help challenge you and help move you to the next level, like this wonderful friend of yours that has continuously challenged you. They sound like an amazing person. You're super blessed to have them. So shout out to them if they're listening. They're amazing. But you're right. Your environment and the people that you surround yourself with are so incredibly important. And the cool thing about today's age is that there's so many ways to find your people and find the ones that are going to help rise you up and help you get to that next level. So thank you so much, Dawn. I loved talking to you today. I know that you are going to be a speaker. You're going to do all the things. You've got so much going for you. You're so warm and fun, and your story is amazing, and you're going to help so many people. So thank you.
Thank you.